Hello everyone and welcome to CloudyML. So in this video, we are going to discuss about one of the important interview question which was asked in AWS interview, Amazon Web Services. So this is the problem statement here. So AWS or Amazon Web Services is powered by fleets of servers. We know that because it is a cloud platform, so it deals with several servers. So senior management has requested data-driven solution to optimize the server usage. Okay. So write a query that calculates the total time that the fleet of servers were running. The output should be in units of full days. So we have to calculate the total time that the fleet of servers were running. How many days? Like a fleet of server might run continuously for 2 days, 3 days, 1 month. So we have to calculate the total time the fleet of server running in full days. So that's why it is highlighted in full days. So assumption, each server might start and stop several times. Okay. The total time in which the server fleet is running can be calculated as sum of each server's uptime. So in this case, you have got one table, which is server utilization table, which has the server ID. So this is a server ID. It's a status time and session status. So you can consider it as the fleet of server, or you can also consider as one server, uh, whatever is suitable for you to solve a question. So in this case, I'm considering that one server with a server ID 1 is starting at this particular time on 8th of Feb 2022 at 10 a.m. and it's stopping at 8 sorry, it's the time is in different format. It's like it's in month, day, year format. So it is starting on 2nd of August and it is ending on 4th of August, the start and stop time. So the difference is 2 full days. Similarly, in this case, you can see the server with server ID 2 starting at 17th August and ending by 24 August. So it is the difference is how many days? It's like around 3 for 7 days. So it's the difference is 2 days here and 7 days here. So I will take the same exactly same table, fill it up, insert it into my SQL, and I'll calculate the example and total uptime days. So in this case, the total uptime days is an example output. In the example output, the combined uptime of all these servers from start to stop is total 21 full days. In this case, this is not the same because you have got 2 days as the uptime time for this server of server ID 1, and this is for 7 days for server ID 2. It's an example. It is saying that it's a way of saying that the output I want in these units. So total number of days. So this is what we have to figure out. Now there is again multiple approaches to solve this question. So always you remember one thing, that this server might start again of like on 4th itself, and again it might stop. So anyways, whatever happens, we always have to club a start and stop time with respect to each of the server. Okay, we have to actually note the start and stop time for each of the server ID, and taking this as one group, we have to calculate the difference. Even if it has started again and stopped again, in that case, again the same thing we have to do. We have to group the start and stop for each server ID, and again we have to calculate the time. So in this case, if the first server starts again at 4th of August and ends at like 10th of August, so again the same thing you have to do is, so you will get start stop for a group of 2. So you have to take one group, calculate the difference, and that's it. Write it down somewhere. Okay, and then probably you have to add all the differences. So that's what we have to do. So this you can get the idea from this question that you can easily use a window function. You can partition using server ID, and you can order by the status time. Once you partition using server ID and order using the status time, then what you can do is you can use a lead function, and accordingly you can try to solve this question. That is a very good and efficient approach, but I want to explain you the approach of joins. So why I'm using joins? Because it's many a times we as a student often get confused in the way the joins work, and sometimes we also get an explicit question in an interview to solve certain question using joins. So obviously you can use window function, very elegant, very efficient to work with. But in this case, let's use joins to do that. Since we have only one table, we will use self join. So I have prepared an Excel table for you considering this server ID. And in this case, I have also taken the third server ID. Okay, I have used this. So no worries. I can add up any number of server IDs multiple times. That doesn't matter. We have to know the logic. So the logic is that this is one server, this is one table, and this is the same copy of the table highlighted in green, yellow, and blue. You have to join it. Obviously, the only column which no you can join it using any of the column, but only sensible column which seems common to both is the server ID. So I've joined it. And in this case, I'm only taking the joined table for this single server ID, which is server ID 1. You can extend this joins, this table to other server ID also. But considering you have two server ID here and two server ID here, since the cell join will give the Cartesian product, you will get four columns here. Oh, sorry, four rows here. These are the four rows. The four rows are this id, this particular id will match to this two ids, and again this id will match to again these two ids. So in this way you will get this four rows generated for a single server id, which is one server id 1 specific to server id 1. So now when you have joined this two table, so you've got all possible combinations. And now if you want to find out the time difference, in this case, what you can do is you can first you can join this table, then you can say that I want to filter out that row from the table, from this particular table. I want to filter out that row where this table, the yellow table status, session status is equal to start, and the blue table session status is equal stop. Okay, you can see the combination. You have got start, 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 stop, stop, start, stop, stop. Okay, this is the combination. Now you are saying that I want to filter out only that row where the blue table, the yellow table has got start in their session status, and the blue table has got a stop in the session status. In this way, I'm ensuring that I am filtering out that row where I have got a start and a stop time. Okay. And the third condition I can use is when I say that the status time of yellow table should be less than the status time of blue table. Why this third condition? Because it might happen sometimes in the haste of writing the query, you might mix up the table. You might say that I want the stop session from the I want start session from the blue table and a stop session from the yellow table. So this will bring this query up. This will bring this filter, this row as this will filter out this particular row, and this particular row, the difference will come out to be 0. So in this case, what you are doing is you are saying that you should filter out that row where the first table session status is start, the other table session status will be stop. Also, you have to make sure that the row which you are bringing up, the difference of the status time between the blue table and the yellow table is positive. That means blue table has got a higher status time than the yellow table. So this is what the logic would be when we use join. You can see how intricately we have to develop logic when we are solving a question using join. And that is why sometimes it is explicitly asked in interview. Though you can use this for this question, you can very easily and efficiently, you can use the window function. So I hope you are clear with the logic. If you are, we can proceed to writing the code. So let us write the code here. In this case, I've already created the table. I've already created the same number of records which was in my table, in my sample table. And now the first important thing is I have to calculate the time difference. So I can simply say select, and in this case I have to calculate this time difference between two timestamps in terms of seconds, because in this case you can see here you have got the time and hour, minute and second. The lowest granularity is second. So let us calculate the time difference in seconds. In that way it will be easier for us to round off or convert it into days and everything. So we know that there are 3600 seconds in 1 hour. So in 24 hours, you have around uh, 86,400 seconds. Okay, so we have to calculate using seconds. So how the difference can be done? So the first thing is that we have to use time stamp diff function. So what does this function do? So let me write this function first, time stamp diff. So this timestamp diff will take the two columns where you want to know between whom you want to take a difference. The first argument would be what will be the unit of difference, whether it will be minute, seconds or hour. So in my case, or in our case, we can take seconds. And now you would want to or in this case you'll have second, not seconds. Okay, and now in this case you have to have two columns in which we will be between which we will be calculating the difference. So we know the difference should be calculated between the status time. So this is server utilization. So I can say su1, which is my first table, dot status underscore time is my first status time from the first table. And what I can do is I can alias su2 to my second table, and I again get the status time or get extract the status time from the second table. So this will bring the seconds, the difference in seconds. Now this seconds has to be summed up because the servers might be started and stopped several times. So we want to get the entire uptime in days for each particular fleet of server. So that's why we are using sum. Once we sum up all the uptimes, all the differences, we can convert it to days. So we know that there is 86,400 seconds in one day. So I can say 86,400. So this will be seconds. So now this is the main thing. But now when I am dividing by 86,400, it might happen that there will be some point values. So I don't want any point values because I want everything to be in whole days. So that's what this says in this problem. Full days, the unit should be in full days. So I don't want any second, so that any partial or fraction of days can come up. So in this case, to avoid this, I can use a function called floor. So what a floor function will do, it will only fetch it will only fetch the whole numbers from your entire fraction. So if you have 25.4, so it will only extract 25 and not zero point 0.4 from this. So you can use this calculation and you can alias it as total uptime days. Total uptime days. So this is my only calculation which is important in this case, and then we can use from you have got your server utilization. The first table we have aliased it as SU1, and then we are joining server utilization SU2. Now the main conditions we have to write SU2 on what? First thing is SU1 dot server ID. SU1 dot server ID is equal to SU2 dot server ID. This is the main join. Now you have to filter out the rows giving a condition and SU1. What was the condition? I said from the yellow table, I wanted the server status, session status, SU1 dot session status should be start. And I also wanted from SU2 dot session status from the blue table, if you remember, in this case, the yellow table and blue table. The yellow table should have the session status as start, and the blue table should have session status as stop. So this is what I'm doing. So in this case, the session status will be stop. And we have filtered out a row, but it's not enough because we also have to create one more condition so that we don't in any chance get a difference or total uptime days of 0, because it might happen if we actually filter out different, or I mean a wrong row or incorrect row. So in this case I can say where SU1 dot session time status, session status or status time, 1 second, status time, this time should be less than SU2 dot status time. Now this 3 filterings are done, and now you have to simply group, because you're taking an aggregation of sum, and any aggregation will always work on group by. So you have to group by SU1 dot server ID, and that's it. So this is your final query, and if you'll run this now, you can see the total uptime days for server of fleet 1, I mean server of ID 1 is 2 and server of ID 2 is 7, which is same with respect to the sample table. In this case, this is 2 of August, 4 of August, difference is 2, 17 of August, 24th of August, the difference is 7. So this is how we will write the query. The logic is this, and I have explained clearly why we will use this join and then 3 conditions which are important in this case. So I hope you liked our approach of explaining joins and you have learned something really good from this video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to CloudyML. Thank you.